about, and then we're going to just look at the Word of God and see what it has to say. But go ahead and check this out.
I'm Bishop Nathaniel of Israel United in Christ, who was founded back in 2003. Many people call us an organization. However, it is an organized nation. We are unlike any other group you've ever seen before. We are gathering our people which have been scattered during the sub-Saharan slave trade and the transatlantic slave trade. Our forgotten brothers, our forgotten sisters, as Christ commanded us in Matthew 15:24. He said, go unto the lost. He said, I am not sent, but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Our people are the true Israelites, and that's what we teach, and no other group out there knows what we know. Go ahead, Deacon, what are you going to say?
All right, there you have it. So that's usually, it goes something like that, right? There's this exclusivity. Nobody else knows the truth. We got the truth. It's that's classic example of cult-like behavior. It's not about what does the Bible say. It's about, oh, I got this special knowledge. This is classic. Like the unholy trinity of cults is that they all have these three things in common: money, power, and sex. Okay, there's usually all those three are intertwined somehow. And when people say stuff like, we got some hidden stuff, you know, nobody knows, well, you know, basically they're saying that, you know, they got the power, they got the keys to the kingdom, and you got to listen to them. Otherwise, you're just never going to know the truth. So it's very cultish. I don't really know a whole lot about those guys. I'm just saying that's a cultish thing to say. Exodus 12:36, the word of God says this: and Jehovah had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they granted them what they requested. Thus they plundered the Egyptians. Then the children of Israel, okay, those ancient ancestors, the Hebrew Israelites, journeyed from Ramses to Succoth, about 600,000 men on foot, besides children. And it says, this is the key verse, like for the whole entire talk today, as we look at the Torah, as we look at everything about skin color, a mixed multitude went up with them also, and flocks and herds, a great deal of livestock. So we have to understand it's a mixed multitude that exits in the original Exodus out of Egypt. It's mixed. It's a mixed multitude. Why does it say that? Because there's Egyptians, there's different nationalities. The Egyptian empire at this time was massive. And so it was all kinds of colors and shades of different colors of people, pigments of skin. Okay, that's what it's telling you. It's a mixed multitude. And if we jump over to Exodus 19, verse 6, it says, so once they get to Mount Sinai, okay, in 19 verse 5 of Exodus 19 verse 5, now therefore, if you will indeed obey my voice, God is saying, and keep my covenant, then you shall be a special treasure to me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you shall speak, Moses, to the children of Israel. So what does it really mean to be a Hebrew, to be an Israelite anyway? Because the whole Moses generation was cut off. They all died in the wilderness because of their disobedience. You have to actually obey, and it's not a performance, it's not a perfection thing. We have to be willing to try to follow God the way that he said, not the way that the pagan traditions of men say. You actually have to look at what his voice is saying in his scriptures, and you actually have to just try to keep his covenant. It's not you're going to be perfect, you're going to mess up, but there's grace. Then, as long as you're trying, at least putting somewhat of an effort, you're going to be a special treasure to me above all people, a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. And that's exactly what Peter, if we go to 1 Peter, so I know I'm kind of like skipping here, hopefully I'm not losing you. 1 Peter, his letter, this is who he wrote his letter to. 1 Peter 1:1, Peter, an apostle of Jesus Christ, to the pilgrims of the dispersion. That just means scattering, people that have been scattered. Hebrew pilgrims, Israelites, in Pontus, Galatia, Cappadocia, Asia, Bithynia, elect according to the foreknowledge of God, okay? So these are the elect, these are the pilgrims, these are the scattered of Israel, lost sheep, and Peter calls them a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation. He's quoting Exodus, that verse we just read from 19, verse 6. So he's saying all these people, not in Africa, not in sub-Saharan slave trade, but in fact, right here in these regions of Galatia, Pontus, Asia Minor is what it was known as, and what still is known as. Those were the places where God's people were scattered, because as I'm going to talk about this more, the scattering of conquered Israel, you're going to see, oh, okay, yeah, God's people were divided up. It used to be 12 tribes. This is around the time that they enter the land under Joshua. They start conquering it, because it literally says the sin is they're making fun of the Ethiopian woman, Zipporah, that Moses had married. We'd learned her name earlier in Exodus and stuff. Age 3571, it's a Cushite woman. Why would they be making fun? Why would this be a problem? Why would Miriam get leprosy? Why would it prevent the children of Israel from traveling for 7 days? Like, why was this such a big deal? Why do you think this is recorded in our scriptures for us? And the main reason this is recorded in our Bibles, one of the main reasons, is so that we would stop with this whole nonsense of racism. Racism. And see, that word is a very loaded word.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Recha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and even the elder bishops of Great Millstone. Honors as well to you, brethren, you fellow believers of this faith, and shalom to the elect. So anyway, I want to touch on this video here, and I think in this title it's called, Is Black the True Identity of the Hebrew Israelites, right? So is black the true identity? Well, we use that a little loosely, but yeah, to a degree, when you're talking about a people who's using white as the true identity. That's why we say that. Because in order to be a black Hebrew Israelite, you must be going to the opposition of the white Hebrew Israelite. So if you got a people that's saying, and pushing and showing and putting the images up, even of the white Jesus, and saying this is who the Israelites were, this is who the Jesus were, what Jesus is, we now see that psychologically you're pushing the image or pushing the narrative that all the Israelites and all the great people of the Bible were white. So we have to dispel that myth and that lie and show that they were so-called black. So I don't know why he did this video, but in the edification of this video, we're going to go into the fact that race is not strictly skin color, right? This is what you've seen with Moses and Aaron. I mean, Moses and Zipporah, right? But when you see the picture of Moses and Zipporah, they'll have the image of white Moses and the black Zipporah. So I don't understand why they don't do videos on certain things like that, dispelling that lie. Why would you do that? If you're the one pushing the fact that it has nothing to do with race, why would you allow or not do videos on people who are putting up Jesus to be white? Because if it's not racial oriented, then why put up any picture at all? So somebody's going to lie or put up the picture that, you know, that identifies or come close to the figure of what we're talking about. So when you see Moses and Zipporah, they were both dark-skinned people. One just had a different nationality than the other. One had a different look. Like the Cushites, Ethiopians look different than us. That's what it is. And then the slave trade, they'll say you were black sold blacks. You had tribes. And it's a shame that only in America, and I believe this guy knows this. He has to know this, but he won't. He's just trying to, you know, when people who are in control of a situation, a narrative, and push, you know, racial identity and it's so much against racism, they'll do videos like this, but the racist acts that are continually to happen, they won't do videos on. Those people in the Holy Land are saying Isaiah 49, talking about the people will come and bring them to their place and they will lick up the dust of their feet. They'll say that they're the people. So they put themselves in that position to say that. So anyway, let's go into Exodus, right? Going into the mixed multitude, because I don't think he even fully understands that, what's going on in that situation, right? Where are we at when they're dealing with the mixed multitude? When they're talking about the Egyptians, the Israelites coming out of Egypt in a mixed multitude. Yeah, Exodus 12:37 says, and the children of Israel journeyed from Ramses and Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, and were men beside children. And a mixed multitude went up also with them, and flocks and herds, and even very much cattle. And they baked unleavened cakes of dough, which they brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not unleavened, or not leavened, let me say that, because they were thrust out of Egypt, right, and could not tarry, neither they had prepared themselves for any victual. Now, I want to say when you go into the fact of the mixed multitude, the understanding of the mixed multitude, I'm gonna read some commentary, and I did a lot of research on the mixed multitude, right, and who they actually were. But it says this is different commentaries, right? You know, you do the research. It says perhaps it is more probable that they consisted of fugitives, right? This is talking about the mixed multitude. Consisted of fugitives from other subject races, right? Oppressed by the pharaohs. We have again mention of this mixed multitude in Numbers 11 and 14, which we'll get that too, or as 11 and 4, where we find that they were the first to regret the flesh and the fish, the cucumbers and the melons and the leeks, the onions and the garlic, which they had eaten in Egypt freely. They thus set a bad example with the Israelites who followed. So what we must understand is when you go back to the mixed multitude, those are also Israelites that also mix. You know, the children of Israel, the seed of Israel, we was mixing with other nations as well, right? So they knew some of the customs. So what happened is they started getting mistreated, you know, by the pharaohs, and, you know, putting hell on them to a degree. So the mixed multitude decided, the hell with them, you know what I'm saying? So they just jumped ship, right? So they abandoned what they were once, you know, belonging to or being a part of. Now, they was people of different offices in Egypt. You know, some had greater offices than others. So if you can imagine a governor here or a senator or mayor who all of a sudden starts getting mistreated, then what they do is they jump ship and just want to get out of there. So really when they came with the children of Israel, they just wanted to get out of Egypt. And because they said, okay, these are God's people. Now, mind you, some of them were Israelites as well. That's why it said a mixed multitude. Goes on to say, the mixed multitude probably remains the old Semitic population, right? Or Shemitic, okay? Whether first brought into the district by Hyksos or not as uncertain as a natural object of suspicion and dislike to the Egyptians who had lately become masters of the country. They would be anxious to escape. That's what I was just saying. The more especially after the calamities which preceded the Exodus. So they was like, we see Egypt going down, so we ready to get the hell up out of here. Now you had rebels of Egypt that would have stayed back, you know. It says very much like some of the mixed multitude, they were a different band of sect, with some wanted to come with the Israelites and the other ones was like, no, I'm staying back. This is an important fact, both of showing that the oppression of the Israelites had not extended confiscation of their property, and as bearing upon the question of their maintenance in the wilderness. It says the mixed multitude went with them, literally a great rabble, right? That's what it says. Lowest grades of society, partly natives, partly foreigners, bound to the claim as companions in misery. So again, those would have been Israelites as well, mixed with them. That's why it's called the mixed multitude, because you had a mixture, right? And gladly availing themselves of the opportunity to escape the crowd. So they said they was like, well, I'm out of here. like somebody that turned their back on their country. So they couldn't go back anyway. Right? So, that's what they've done. So let's go to Numbers, right? Let's go to the book of Numbers. They would have been called traitors to the society. So let's go to Numbers 11:1. And when the people complained, it displeased the Lord, and the Lord heard it, and his anger was kindled, right? And the fire of the Lord burnt among them and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp, right? And the people cried unto Moses, and when Moses prayed unto the Lord, right, the fire was quenched, and he called the name of the place Taberah, right, because the fire of the Lord burnt among them. Okay, moving on. It says, and the mixed multitude that was among them fell a lusting. Now, why did they fall a lusting? Because the Lord purposely brought hell. This shows you that the Lord wasn't dealing with the mixed multitude. That's why the Lord did what he did, and they fell a lusting. You know why? Let's see. And the children of Israel also wept again and said, who will give us flesh and eat? So the mixed multitude is the one kicked it off, telling the children of Israel, like, man, we ate better than this in Egypt. What the hell is this? Now I got to eat some, I got to dig up some locusts, and then we got to set our own fires and this, so forth and so on. Or why don't we have the fruits that we used to have in Egypt, right? And then it says, we remember the fish. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, Salakia. We remember the fish which we did eat in Egypt freely. And they probably put good salt on there, good garlic and flavorings, right? Egypt would have been like one of the top restaurants. They would have had like top restaurants of good eating and good food, right? The cucumbers and the melons and the leeks and the onions, and the garlic, and we're talking non-GMO, fresh, right? That's why this is Egypt again, because you got all those great restaurants where you can eat great here, right? So if the same thing, when that mark comes out, people going to want to go back a lusting and go back to Egypt for help when they start not being able to eat the good foods. But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides the manna before our eyes. So you see that? They was very ungrateful, right? And then they beguiled the children of Israel to be ungrateful. But it's all started with the mixed multitude, man. They were the ones who brought that sickening and ungratefulness. And the Lord allowed it. And that's why they died, if you keep reading. Right? So that proves it right there. Now I'm going on to this situation with Numbers. I didn't go through this man's whole video. Going into Miriam. Miriam, as you saw, I'm not going to pull it back up, Numbers 12. And then the Ethiopian woman, and he said it had nothing to do with race and so forth and so on, when clearly it's always been about race. But there's men who had women of other nations, women or women. But the promise would have still went, as Paul said in Romans 9. Why do these people always talk about it's not about race, but everything is about race? This very video intro that I did, this video, just made it more about race. Why do they do that? He would never say take down the white Jesus. Oh, but you know what the black Christians will say? It doesn't matter what color he is. It doesn't matter. They were interracial, but Moses and Zipporah, and we understand the elites set all this crap up to put it in our psychologically in our mind that race has everything to do with skin color. Don't get mad at us for saying that. White supremacy is the one that pushed that. That's why you see the art imitating life, so to speak. That's why you see white Moses and black Zipporah. Don't tell us that. Anyway, Numbers 31. Let's see what it says here. And Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the prince of the congregation went forth to meet them without the camps. And Moses was wroth with the officers of the host, with the captains over thousands and captains over hundreds, which came from the battle. And Moses said unto them, have ye saved the woman alive? Right? Have ye saved the woman alive? Now, in case you don't know, this is going into Midian, right? And this will hit the point. I think I just lost my place. It says, where I'm at, right here. Here we go. And Moses said unto them, have ye saved all the women alive? Behold, these caused the children of Israel through the counsel of Balaam to commit trespass against the Lord in the matter of Peor, right? And where was plagued among the congregation of the Lord. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman that have known a man by lying with them. This is what he's saying, right? But all the women, children that have not known a man by lying with him, keep alive for yourselves. So can you imagine that? Oh, this is racist, by the way. And these are two dark nations, by the way, the children of Israel and the Midianites, right? So can you imagine the women now wishing they never laid with a man so they could be spared? Yeah. Which means it goes to the younger women and the young men, or the children, right? The young men and young women. It says, but the women children that have not known man by laying with him, keep alive for yourselves. And do you abide without the camp 7 days? Whosoever have killed any person, and whosoever have touched any slain, purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day, on the 7th day, and purify all your raiment, right? And all that is made of skins, and all the work of goats' hair, and all things made of wood. So Malachi 4:6 or 3:6 says, I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war. So we can clearly see, right, that nothing, all hell is coming back. And all these things is still going to go forth. They just think Jesus came with the white Jesus with the long stringy hair. The effeminate Jesus has come now to bring just peace on earth, which that doesn't say in the scriptures. And he just joined all nations together. This is what they teach. And we've done videos on Jew and Greek and Gentile and all that. This will go to another hour, right? Clearly, Gentile is neither Hebrew nor Greek word. The Gentiles were Israelites as well, right? Gentile can be heathen. Stranger was Israelites. You can go to Acts 13. It'll tell you that as well. You can go to Leviticus 19. It'll tell you as well. So, I just wanted to touch on this video because a couple of things he said about skin color, and I'll clarify that race is not strictly skin color oriented, right? This man very well doing this video can be an Israelite, but they're stuck on that because they're speaking of the wrong groups. That's why all the groups hate us, because we'll tell you like it is, and we don't need to make an issue over skin color, but we make the issue because you lied on the Messiah, right? That's what's destroyed our people. No wonder our people don't think anybody's great or think of themselves great and everybody else is great. If you notice somebody so-called white looking do something great, our people love them for it. But when they so-called black, like Muhammad Ali, he had to be riddled and crippled in a wheelchair for everybody to love him. It's the same thing happened with Yahushua. When he died, now everybody believes in Jesus Christ. Yeah, right. Anyway, that's all I have on that. Shalom.